All right. Good morning. Good morning. So this is the last agenda item. You guys can turn the music off if you want. They gonna turn the music off? 1 second, Alex. So thank you. so this is the last panel, the last agenda item before lunch, but this is a really important agenda item, just like the rest, because you've heard from end users like Google and Oregon State and the core labs like Oak Ridge. We're going to take you through a panel of end users here. So I'm going to invite up Alex, who's already decided to come up on stage. We've got Bryan from Allegiant, and then we've got Leo from Nimbix. If you guys want to sit, well, while we're doing that, you notice there's only 3 panelists. Whenever you do a demo, usually there's almost always a technical glitch. Okay, so this is like a demo. We had technical glitch, which is canceled air travel. So we're going to try to do something. We've got 3 of them that I'll talk about myself, some of the things going on. And then we've got one other that we're going to try to do a Skype audio with Limelight, with Kevin from Limelight, and see how that works as one of our panelists here. So since you guys all sat down there, I guess I'll come over here so I'm not sitting far from you. All right, good. So, and by the way, you're going to have to help me on when we're ready to do the Skype thing, how that's going to work. So I'll start with you, Alex, from an Uber perspective. We just heard from Jack about all the exciting things going on at Oak Ridge, and the fact that basically they're going to be delivering in this summer one of the largest supercomputers in the world. 4,600 servers, over 27,000 GPUs. This is going to be a major event in the industry. I know that you guys are working closely with Oak Ridge and with the Summit Computer, doing a lot of interesting things on OpenPOWER. You've got an initiative and a program going on there. Tell us a little bit more about what's going on with the Horvad initiative.
Sure. So we've been introduced to a team at Oak Ridge doing deep learning and applying it to fundamental research in physics. In that case, this team has infinite amount of data which they can generate on the fly. So it makes total sense for them to scale their training to an unprecedented amount of compute resources. At Uber, we built Horvat, a library for distributing deep learning frameworks. Horvat makes it super easy for researchers to go from a single GPU training to training using large cluster or large supercomputer in this case. Before tools like Horvat, what would happen is researchers would run multiple experiments on using small amount of compute devices each, and they would just wait for them to complete maybe for a few days. But it's much more efficient to actually run those experiments sequentially using more compute resources but faster, because then you can take into account what happened during all the prior experiments and pose your next experiment in more knowledgeable way. So because of that, we're very excited to see team at Oak Ridge apply our technique to their problem and use our open source software to scale their deep learning to the scale of Summit. We believe it will help to utilize the compute resources more efficiently and get scientific results faster.
Very good. Thank you. So why then is, in your mind, Summit and Power 9 a good combination for Horvat?
Actually, it's an excellent combination. When Summit is fully commissioned, it will have, as was mentioned, more than 27,000 GPUs. That will be latest generation GPU from NVIDIA and latest generation power processors. In FP16 mode, they will actually have, each GPU will have 120 teraflops, or as they call tensor teraflops. So if you do the math, the system has peak performance of 3 exaflop. As such, this training has a chance of becoming one of the first exascale deep learning workloads, if not the first.
Very good, very good. I look forward to hearing more about what Uber is going to do with this and how hopefully in the future there's more use of the capabilities to add and improve productivity at Uber. This is really exciting what you guys are doing.
Definitely.
Thank you. Before we move on to one of the other panels, I do want to make another comment about another hyperscaler out there, if you guys want to throw up the $0.10 chart. And they made a lot of comments about this at the OpenPOWER Summit in China in December, where they have deployed, as another major hyperscale data center, they've deployed a lot of OpenPOWER capability. They deployed another set of adoption of OpenPOWER technology late last year. And they've stated publicly, the fact that it's driving efficiency improvements of more than 30% on performance, at the same time with 30% less rack and server resources. So very significant of the benefits they've achieved from OpenPOWER. Also, you guys may have heard in the past that there was a major contest that Tencent won where they set 4 world records on big data analysis, this TerraSort contest, and using OpenPOWER servers. So a very big initiative, and we look forward as an organization, OpenPOWER, IBM, and all of our partners to continue to drive more benefits to Tencent and also to the broader hyperscale community. So I wanted to add that as another comment, and my thanks to you, Alex, for joining us as well. The other thing I wanted to do was talk about how this transitions into the cloud. So we've got Leo here from Nimbix doing a lot of stuff with OpenPOWER in the cloud. We spoke earlier about it. You're starting to see some high demand. Tell us a little bit and elaborate on the types of use cases that you're seeing in Nimbix around leveraging the OpenPOWER capabilities.
Sure. So first and foremost is going to be deep learning, machine learning. Obviously, we've talked about the NVLink and the InfiniBand capabilities of these boxes, of these systems, being just a tremendous advantage to being able to get data into the GPUs. So obviously that brings, so that's on the hardware side. On the software side, the Power AI that was actually mentioned in the last panel as well. That was a huge reason why we were able to not just deploy these systems and bring them to market, but actually immediately get customers on them because they didn't have to figure out how to get the frameworks ported. That was already done by IBM, which is fantastic. Second to that, we're seeing things like accelerated analytics or GPU accelerated database use, kind of like the MapD, the Kineticas of the world. And then finally, we do see some bioinformatics and more traditional HPC type use cases. Very good.
We've heard from Brad earlier. We heard from Mora. We heard from Oregon State. We heard from even Oak Ridge a lot about how critical acceleration is, right? And you look at the capabilities of OpenCAPI, of PCI Gen 4, of NVLink 2. In your cloud delivery model, how are you guys exploiting and accelerating those kinds of things to enable differentiation and advantage?
That's a great question. So first of all, our customers, so we differentiate in general in the market in the sense that we only do advanced computing use cases. So our cloud is purpose-built from the ground up in the sense that, it's native InfiniBand fabric throughout. So most of the stuff that we run in our cloud is going to be either highly parallel or it's going to require a lot of bandwidth to get, if you're doing GPU type stuff, to get stuff in and out of GPUs. So for us, it was really not that interesting to just kind of take a box and put a bunch of PCI-enabled, P100s in it. The entire architecture was very key to being able to do the types of machine learning that actually requires, large amounts of data being moved in and out of the GPUs. So we see that differently than what some of the other cloud providers actually do. And then, of course, because we already had the InfiniBand fabric, now when distributed deep learning came out in Power AI, it was actually really easy to scale that out with an HPC-like architecture, which we thought was both innovative and simple, because if you look at the way that you write these algorithms, for example, in TensorFlow, they're no different whether you're using a single GPU or you're using, say, 200 GPUs. So we felt that was a great advantage, and just that allows us to differentiate versus just kind of selling GPU capacity, which we just don't think is that's more of a commodity use case that we're just not as interested in.
Yep, yeah, that sounds great. We love what you're really doing there, and it's the fact that your model, your cloud delivery model, is bringing in so many different customers from so many different industries, including hyperscalers, that are actively leveraging that in your cloud environment to get those advantages and that differentiation in a different model than your traditional on-prem. I mean, that's a really good opportunity there. In fact, IBM is doing some things here to try to help with that. We've put a developer program in place. We were investing in making it easy for developers to go and access an on-ramp to Nimbix. And you guys will hear more about that as you go through this afternoon and you look at the technical stuff going on upstairs, and a lot more about that coming. But we're real excited about that from that perspective as well. So thank you for joining us. We really do appreciate it, and for everything you're doing with OpenPOWER.
Thank you.
So since we're on the cloud theme, I want to also get you guys to put the next slide up. Another provider that's not here today, but Ali Cloud, the cloud arm of Alibaba, is also doing some stuff with OpenPOWER. They're making OpenPOWER servers available on their Ali X Dragon cloud platform. And they announced at the December summit in China that they've made that available for pilot programs, and they're asking customers to go onto their cloud and really, really hit the keyboard on it and really test it out. And they're going to use that to help them figure out the best way to move that from pilot into a more production deployment model. So we're really excited about what Ali Cloud is doing there, and they've made statements about how quick and efficient it was to put that particular environment together. Another example of the ease of moving into the OpenPOWER environment. So another guy that can't be here, but gave us the blessing of being able to talk about what they're doing there as well. So let's move. My next one was supposed to be Limelight. Maybe I should just go to Allegiant first and then see. You want to do Limelight? All right. Let's see if this works. So let's move from cloud to the global private network. Limelight is one of the world's largest, fastest content delivery network solution providers for all content delivery providers, guys that do a lot of streaming. Is Kevin there?
Yes, hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Thanks, Kevin. Sorry about your technical difficulties with your flight.
Yeah, no problem. I'm happy we got this figured out.
Great, great. Thanks for joining us. And so if you could take us through a little bit of why OpenPOWER technologies are a better solution for your CDN clients.
Sure. So we have a scale-out workload, and what we found is we were bumping up against the limits of other architectures in terms of memory bandwidth and I/O bandwidth. And when we looked at the power chip, we saw these things were, 2x or more or greater than we could get in other platforms. So we're interested in that from an efficiency perspective. And basically, it allows us to provide a better quality of experience and expand our network faster with this system.
Very good. And obviously, TCO is critical to our ability to demonstrate differentiation and penetration, deployment, and success. But also, Kevin, open is critical. Having an open ecosystem and being able to leverage open technologies. Could you take us through a little bit more of why that's something that is advantageous and beneficial for you and your company?
Sure. There's some interesting challenges we have. We're in 138 data centers around the world. And basically, that's a big logistics puzzle to where we need to get machines into different geopolitical regions with taxes and things like that. So we like to choose ODMs that have the ability to do these things. And we found with Power, you guys are already addressing some of those needs with the ODMs that we're comfortable working with.
You still there?
Yes, I'm still here.
Okay, I didn't know if you paused or if we had technical difficulty.
Sorry, another audio came on.
Okay. We done?
Yeah,
okay.
the highlight there is just that we're able to use our different ODMs on the hardware side. On the ecosystem side, I guess I would expand that we like the open BMC and things like that. We're obviously heavy users of remote management with all these sites. It costs a bundle of money to have somebody go, re-rack a machine or have to go recover a machine. So whenever we can do things remotely, it helps our operations group out. And we're also impressed by IBM's depth of talent on the firmware teams, on the kernel teams. One challenge we have, and where we're providing some community leadership, is we run a FreeBSD kernel, and having to kind of navigate through the port. We've got Power 8 up and running, and right now we're trying to digest how we can get Power 9 up and running on that platform.
Very good. We're really excited about the types of content delivery networks and those particular types of clients that you guys can bring to the OpenPOWER community here. Anything you can say about the types of clients that you guys are engaged with?
Yeah, we have a number of banner names up on our website that people could go reference. On the backside, I'm on software development. We're technology partners with Netflix, and we're working on a network stack and TCP IP stack with them. And I can say that we're both interested in moving OpenPOWER forward and seeing if it is the long-term investment we desire.
Okay, very good. All right, thank you, Kevin, and thank you for joining us. Sorry about the flight difficulties, but appreciate you being able to do this over the phone.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Okay, so let's go back to the room. So Bryan, Allegiant Air. So you guys are using OpenPOWER capabilities for data serving and working it out with things like DB2 and Redis. Can you take us through a little bit more around the workloads and why why do you see the benefits of OpenPOWER with those workloads?
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having us. A few years ago, we were kind of at an inflection point when it came to the technology we were using, both on the hardware side and the software side. We were actually considering moving away from Power Systems and from DB2 in general, but we were fortunate enough to get aligned with some of the folks who were working on the early Power 8 systems. After a pretty lengthy, let's say, shootout, if you will, we found that the price-to-performance ratio was great for our systems. We ended up going with Power 8 backed with flash storage initially. And I think we ended up seeing basically a gain or lack of loss in revenue of close to $700,000 over an x86 solution. Since then, we have been able to really expand our data collection, if you will, a lot of cloud and API-based solutions. And we found that the Power Systems have just been really great at actually pushing this data. In particular, as we move forward to NoSQL solutions like Redis, we're doing a bunch of stuff with Cloudant as well. And we just find that these systems have really stood up to the workloads.
Oh, very good. In that context, what do you see as the next exciting things doing between Allegiant and OpenPOWER as far as where you see this going for you?
Yeah, it's machine learning and AI. I think that's the buzz that is going to be going around Think and this conference this week. So we're pretty heavily putting our investment towards working on conversational AI, and basically the idea of being able to solve some human-computer interaction problems so that our customers can sort of buy more stuff and have more successful travel. And we see Power 9 with the GPU acceleration and some of the technology we've been talking about as something that'll help us get there, for sure.
Excellent, thank you. You guys have been a great partner of the OpenPOWER community, and we very much appreciate it.
Thanks.
Very good. So there we go. All of them. We're not done yet, though. So there's another partner who couldn't be here that gave us the blessing to talk about what they're doing a little bit. So if you guys already put that up, PayPal. So they're another player that's actually actively out there leveraging OpenPOWER and the IBM Power Systems in the deep learning research space, and they're focused on using it for fraud detection problems. And they see the value, as you heard Brad first thing this morning, of unlocking the computation power, in this case with extra large data sets. And the capability we have with the coherency, the memory bandwidth, the I/O bandwidth, to be able to do that in the Power architecture in a way that is accelerated, significantly accelerated, they're seeing the value of that. And they're taking that fraud detection or that fraud prevention capability and incorporating it themselves. So we're excited about them as another end user leveraging the competencies of OpenPOWER. So I think we're running out of time, and I think everybody's getting hungry here. So first of all, my thanks to Kevin, Bryan, Leo, Alex for joining us here. My thanks to all the keynoters, all the panelists that we've had today. And my thanks to even the guys that couldn't be here, Tencent, Alibaba, PayPal, for providing us the capability to be able to talk about what they're doing as well. And I thank the audience for joining us for this part of the event. You know, if anybody's interested in joining OpenPOWER, there are many different ways to do it for those that are here, you know, evaluating. There's the enterprise, there's ISVs, there's academic, there's individual membership, et cetera. And we ask you to go this afternoon, take a look at what we've got, the 30 or so technical sessions that are there this afternoon, the trade show capabilities. We've got the reveals that you saw previously and everything else, the birds of a feather and so forth that are going to be this afternoon. So with that, again, my thanks to all of our partners here. And I think we're going to break for lunch, correct? Okay. Thanks, everybody.